thing. Everybody thought I was actually doing Battlefield. So anyway, let's take a quick listen to this. I'm going to grab a Pepsi while it plays, and then we're going to do this stuff. Here we go. So yeah, that's where we where I got to. God, it's tricky trying to do this in the helmet. Okay, so the library I actually wanted to focus on today was this one, which is Saga by Red Room Audio. I've only loaded 2 of the patches here, and then I've loaded like some ADO and some other things to get my sound. But let me find like a dense part where the so these 2 here are Saga. So let's take a listen to those. What was that flute at the start? That was actually my flute. I can't remember how I played it. So that was actually a flute. God, can I play a flute in here? I can't remember how I played it. It was like. But obviously played a little better than that. But anyway, so let's take a little look at the old Saga. So this is just Saga playing here. Right? This is the problem with the big UIs. I don't know where to put them. Okay, let's just get rid of it. Imagine you know what it looks like for now. So we're gonna pull in around about here. So this is the low. Hang on, put some width. So we look down at the bottom here. You can see. We've got some slappy drums, a snare. We got some snare sticks. We got some off snares. So I was wondering, I didn't check this out yet, but I'm curious as to if there is a velocity curve. There is. So if we turn the velocity curve down, that, oh God, UIs. I hate that Contact does that. If we turn the curve the other way, yeah. Hey, Faceless Stoty, thank you for the donation. And by the way, just so that you guys know that when you donate and stuff now, it now shows up there. Up there, when we're on this screen, it shows up there. So, you know, your donation will be forever, forever loved. Anyway, so where we get to? We got the low toms. So we're going to turn this velocity curve up a bit. So this is global as well, by the way. So something worth mentioning before we go through all the sounds is they actually did a pretty cool thing with this. So you see, like, I'm hitting these two keys here. If you look down the bottom, right? But this one in between is a roll, and the rolls are mod wheel assigned. So I can go. We got some of those. Okay, so and the cool thing is like you have to actually click this. It took me a second, but if you have that unclicked, you see that I'm only editing the large drum, which is just these two. If I click this, which is the MIDI change button, right? You see it actually changes the instrument to match what we've got, but we can select what we want to work with up there. And also, this is normally turned off by default, but I turn that on. That means whenever I'm affecting something, it's the global. So and the reason I was doing that is because they have a mic blend button. So if I pull it all the way down here, that's just clean. If we turn it all the other way, by the way, worth mentioning, when I stream, there's a few milliseconds of delay, so it's hard to play rhythmically. So what I tend to do is I actually prefer my percussion being, unless it's like a really focused thing, like a kick drum or, you know, like a really punchy kind of low thuddy sound, I tend to use far mics because I think percussion is one of the only instruments that samples completely. Jesus fucking Christ. Scared the shit out of me. Oh, thank you, Shards. I forgot that happens. That genuinely made me jump again. And again, thank you, you're up there. You're top of the charts now. Well done. Well, that's a thing. I'm trying to make these live streams more interactive. Someone questioned me. They were like, why do you bother live streaming if you just put it on video? And it's like, it's a good point. There wasn't much difference. So now it's more of an interaction now. But yes, if you donate over a certain amount, you get to bram the stream and scare the shit out of everyone. So that's a thing. Anyway. So these are my favorite kinds of sounds here. Like the clicky kinds of things. So we can also mono those. So if I turn this off, now we're only editing the low tom. So I'm just going to... So now if we make we could put those in the middle and then make these really wide. You see? So we're adjusting our things. Normally I don't mess with the stereo field too much in the actual, particularly if you're going wide, because if anybody's listening to this stream in mono, you will notice that sound would probably have disappeared now. So we won't do that too much. And the cool thing they did here is they gave us a nice little EQ. You know, so if you're too loud, what am I trying to say? If you're too too harsh for you, or it doesn't mix into your stream too well, into your track, you can. I actually don't like that at all there. But like on these, for example. So this is like a high pass, low pass dial. But we're going to keep this back on global, and we're going to make sure everything is the same. So down here, we have the same thing, the global high and low cut filter. But we're going to set that to 0. The roll dynamics is just this. Hey, Paul Carden, how's it going, friend? Right, and then down here, right, let's pick a nice sound. So here we have, we can add basically the contact features into it. So like if I wanted more verb, for example, there you go. They must have the dreamy hall. You see, so we can do those, but we can pull this down, obviously. If you wanted more of a reverb thing on the end. If you want to get crazy, this seems to be... you wouldn't really use these too much. Maybe you'd use the transient masters and the compressors and the limiters, but maybe not like these bottom ones. You put... If you want to do some crazy things, but normally that wouldn't be, what you would use these for. But we can use like a solid... So, we'll get a nice punchy... we'll put this around like 30. Pull the reeds down. Make the ratio kind of high. If I was on a close mic. Fuck. I grabbed the whole thing. I don't mean to do that. It's a bad habit. So obviously with it off, like if we wanted a really, really aggressive, you turn it on. So now I'm doing parallel compression, you see, because they included the mix dial here. So we'll turn that mix up all the way again. That's cool. So that's the basic front-facing features. You can save and re-import your own, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, so we did all the sounds on that. We probably, I think it's down here. Is it Saga? I have so many sample libraries, I forget where they are. Saga acoustic. So the actual sound. So you see, we've got the orchestral ensemble up here. Next, we have the world ensemble. But first, let's just quickly take a look at what I was doing with this. So this is just the orchestral ensemble. Actually, that was a total lie because it's got the world in there as well. So I was using this mostly for a room mic, you see, because I was layering it with, like some other libraries, And you see, it's kind of filling out that room sound, Okay, so, like what we'll do is we'll move down to the world ensemble. So that is, bring this back up. So the world ensemble is playing this. As you can see, so a lot of libraries offer, hundreds of microphone positions, and that's preferable if you're trying to dial in a very specific sound in your mind. If you're the kind of composer who just kind of composes, just writes, and then deals with all the mic positions and stuff later. This is actually, I prefer it this way, particularly on percussive things like this when I'm looking for a sound, because you see, if I play this back and I could just do the mic blend to get what I'm looking for. So it depends where I wanted it to sit. So something like this actually has quite a lot of, has a lot of positive kind of attack. Like it's not harsh, it's not too aggressive, and it's punchy. But at the same time, the room sounds really good. But if you push it too far in the room, it disappears. If you push it too far forward, it pokes out too much. So what I'll do is I'm going to play it in the mix, and I'm going to do the mic blend and see where I like it the most. I'm just going to put on the percussion, though, for now. You see, because there it disappears. So again, let's just listen to what it is by itself. It's that kind of almost Flemish, like flamming, right? And we lose a lot of that flam in the room. So I'm thinking with this sound, I'm actually going to go more of a close sound. So let me just layer in those other drums. And that's it. That's where it feels natural to me. That's where it feels right. I'm actually going to do the same on the top ones as well. So I'm feeling like in this kind of it's annoying because you guys can't see it, but like, you know that face that pops up? It pops up on my side screen here. It scares the fucking shit out of me. Thank you so much for the donation. It's incredibly helpful because I'm planning to put that money towards Kilo Hearts, what's it called? The disperser, which is I think like $59 or something, so that we can do some transient designing and stuff. Anyway, so we're going to put this actually back on. I'm curious to see if it sounds better with the... There we go. So for those of you who don't know what I'm doing there, I'm doing a bit of parallel compression. So I'm compressing it pretty hard, like you can tell if I turn it up really loud, if I put the mix full on. When you get up to like 10-1, you're kind of more, yeah. For those of you who are unsure how compressors work, when the ratio gets up past 1 to 10, you're kind of, you're not so much compressing there as limiting. So I actually kind of like it for percussion because it's really aggressive. So if we put the full mix on, you'll hear what it's doing to the sound. And then what I do is I pull the mix dial back, and then it brings the kind of extra room, because when you compress, you're kind of turning down the transients and the hits of the drums, and you're bringing out that tail, you know, like the way the drum goes into the room. You're bringing the room in more. You're bringing like that kind of surrounding air. You're turning that up. So if I want that, but I also want the transients, you know, I still want the punchy percussion, I can actually just dial the mix knob back, and you can almost turn up the kind of subtle air of the room. You can turn that up with the mix dial. So this is what it's like full on. Bit aggressive, but if we dial it back, we get a bit of, you know, if I turn it off, this is what it is with it not on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bring that in. And the one thing I like about this, so, you know, you guys know that I use Hans Zimmer percussion and the ADO percussion and Heaviosity stuff. The thing that I love about SAGA, and the reason I was willing to wear the hat in order, you know, for them to send me one over, which, again, you know, because people are asking, you know, they did send this over, and I did, so did Audio Imperial for Cerdos, you know, so don't panic. You know, take everything I say with a grain of salt, you know, whatever. But like the thing I like about it is it's actually got a real room tone. Which, you know, so if I show you, like, you know, this is the Hans Zimmer percussion. No, it isn't. So that's ADO. So this, that has like the hall tone, right? Which is great, really big sound. But the cool thing about the SAGA one is the room feels like a drum room, like a nice... And I don't know why, these kinds of rooms feel more natural to me. And that's something I've been looking for a while. I used to use the old G-Town. You know, if anybody remembers the G-Town percussion, which was the old free library that was given away. And it was recorded in a church with basically just the far mics. And that's the kind of, God, it's getting hot in that helmet. That was the kind of tone that they were providing, right? So this adds that extra kind of natural layer to the percussion. Like if I play it without the Saga in it, you'll hear. Obviously, I mean the Saga's playing a lot of parts, but if I play it back and mute them, it's a really, really natural tone, which I absolutely adore. So I accidentally loaded up the various metals down at the bottom then. What we're actually going to do is we're going to come down to track 6 here, and we're just going to play with some of the solo instruments that they've included. So we're actually just loading it in here. So while this loads, oh God. Oh, it's a bit warm in there. Hang on. So again, while we're waiting for this to load, I just want to thank all the donators and the follows. So thank you, Maggot and Paul Carden and Shards and J7. Thank you for the follows and donations. It's really, really appreciated. Oh, anyway, back in. Here we go. We're going back in, lads. Right. So what we'll do now is while that's loaded in. So I think what I'm actually going to do is we'll program some parts in. So this is the soloist. So as you can see, like normally this would be turned off, but we're just going to turn that on. So we can just quickly... Jesus. This goes a long way up. So we've got a Repenique 2-pan, which goes... We've got a lot of 2-pans. Frame drums, Cerdos, and taikos. So we've got our taikos down here. So what's our rhythm? Dan, dan, da, dan, dan. So that'd be like dan, dan. Dan, dan, dan. Dan, dan. Dan, 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 dan. Okay, so that's what we've got. So we'll... Dun, dun. Could put like a little... And then we've got all the... The Cerdos are kind of interesting. We've got all the... So this is more of an open sound. That's more of a closed sound, so... What I'm going to do is I'm going to use it as a way to do my accents. Like this. They need a bit more volume. So for these ones, I'm actually going to turn the velocity curve up a bit. Maybe too much. Da 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 da. And then we'll just, fill this out. And we're gonna mess with the rhythm here. So we have like this kind of 3+3+2 thing going on down here, but we're gonna just have straight up triplets going over the top. Cool. And we have all the 2-pans. So we'll do like some interesting... Whoa. And then we'll, just program some. So there's kind of like an internal... Whoa! Java donated £5. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. You're only doing it for the helmet, though, aren't you? Because you like me looking like an idiot. So we like that. Maybe we can do like a little build up to the end there and see what that sounds like. Don't like it at all. So now if we put that, just this little bit in the mix. So as you can see, like here, from like here to here, we don't have the solo, and here to here we do. So let's listen to the difference. See if it feels like anything, like the bottom just drops out or anything. See, it's just a cool way of making things a little bit more intense there. So I feel like these bits were probably a little bit overpowered. So we're just going to pull those down a bit. Maybe ramp them a bit. There we go. And there's a cool thing I can do here. So because we have that mic control there, let's just put this on the beat. Pushing these into the background isn't actually a bad thing because, they're just kind of filling out the sound. So, we don't really need that kind of clean. But adding a little bit more room. God, I hate that button doing that. Doing that there. So we're just going to copy this over for now, whatever. So that sounds cool. So let's move on to the next instrument. So oil drums. So oil drums are exactly what they sound like. It is a drum of oil. No. Okay. I'm on the wrong one. There we go. So the oil drum is like a metal hit. So the thing with big metal things like this is they tend. God, I'm so sweaty in there, by the way. Whew. It's very hot. I'm going to try and keep it on if it kills me. They have a lot of high-end energy, right? So we could either try pulling it out, right? Or use the mic blend again. Because by pushing it into the room, that is going to push it in, that's going to be more of an actual natural sound. As you can see, my CPU is panicking because I'm streaming. But like, if we wanted to, like I would probably not have this tone in this track because the percussion is already too high transienty already. But I just wanted to show the difference of tone there. So if I'm just going to do the mic blend on this kind of, it's a shitty sounding pattern in there at the minute. But you'll listen, if I move that mic blend, we can either make the whole percussion section sound bigger by pushing that oil, which has such high transients that if I push it into the room, you're going to hear the room really kind of clearly. And if we do the close mic, we can actually layer up and it kind of feels like something else is transient. So that I actually kind of like that as a effect because we're pushing it into the room, it's becoming a bigger kind of sounding room. But where I believe there's not much more you can show about the oil drums. So moving on to the next one, cymbals. Now these I could have used. These are just your basic. To me, cymbals are always in the room. So the only thing that bugged me a little bit about the cymbals is that the rolls are pre-baked from what I can see. Yeah, I'm trying to... You see, like, the mod wheel's doing nothing. So, you know, you get hits, but you get some pre-baked... So I'll just put them in the mix so you can hear. This probably won't land on a beat, but let's give it a go. So in a mix, I'd probably turn that down quite a lot. And it was like, what, like there? So, I mean, cymbals be cymbals. And again, cymbals are one of those ones where messing with the high. Now, that's what's good with this. So, like, sometimes cymbals have like a low-end rumble, you know, hi-hat or whatever. It's just the way mics pick it up. So you can actually just turn this tone dial. Obviously, that's too much. So maybe there. So now we don't have any of that low-end information, which is useful for mixing. So on to the next. The gongs. I do love a good gong, me. Tam. I forget whose video. I think it was a Thomas Goss video. Jesus. The Thomas Goss video, and he was explaining that the gong as written on score paper, on sheet music, actually means tam. But it was like the shorthand name for tam or something like that. So the tam does actually have the dynamics on the mod wheel, which is good. So if we're playing this, you know, if I so desire, I can program those in, or we can have, or we can also add a nice downbeat on that as well. So I wonder what the mic positions give us. So if you do it close, it sounds like a Chinese kung fu film. If you do it far, it sounds nice. You like the helmet, thank you. So your tam-tams have got your good... So you see, like, this hasn't been changing. So I'm just going to turn this on. So you see, now we've got a low gong. And then over here, we have the high gong. Again, like there's no mod wheel roll on that one. Or there. But there is there. Cool. So there's the gong, which we're actually going to leave because I liked it in there. Wrong one. There we go. This is something that they need to fix with Native Instruments. I think if you put a big UI, what they should do is put these in the middle and then put some graphic around the outside, like a rack, you know, as if it's in there, because this looks untidy as fuck. Shall I tell you what the perception does? It makes this seem less important than this, because this is a big UI, and then it's just like, oh, look at these little half-cost libraries we got down here. Right, so there's the gongs. So many libraries. Where? There it is. Gongs. So anvils, these will be like the really high. So these are mostly used for accents. So like we've got our rhythm. What I remember way back in the day, because I'm personally not a huge fan of anvil sound. They sound like a good idea for the day that is like so just kind of, not really a thing as much anymore. So I always like to either, no, not tone. I like to tune them. Then they kind of fit into the mix more. It's something that you can only really do with in the computer. It's not something you can really do for live settings. But that's the thing with percussion. That a lot of the time it's not worth recording percussion live again, unless you've got or at least the whole thing again, because percussion is one of those things where you can actually record how it sounds. So like a violin, a lot of it has to do with how they kind of play each note, where they put the accents, how they put the the dynamic markings in and stuff like that. Percussion is you hit it at certain dynamics, unless you get like rolls or timpanis or something like that. What you play as a sample is what you would get in the room. So like things like anvils and stuff, I don't mind messing with the natural sound of it too much, because I would never re-record it live. There's just it would be a waste of time, because you get the exact same sound back. So metal sheets are, that's kind of cool. So I'm actually going to put these in the room. And I would do this with all metals, like something like that. All you can hear is the sound of whatever they're hitting it with, whether it be a stick or a hammer. When you put the close mic in on metal sounds like this, that's all you're really hearing. You're not really hearing what the metal's doing. And the thing with metal sheets is they're like a reverb. They're like a plate reverb. That's how they move air. So all sound, obviously, as you guys know, is created by sound waves moving, right? If you close mic something like a metal sheet, which is almost like a built-in reverb by itself, you're not really going to get the sound of the sheet, because what it's doing is it vibrates and it pushes air out in lower waves. But when you get the close mic, all you get is that initial transient, that initial, and that applies to a lot of things. If we put this in the room, you get more of the. So it's like, do you want or? I mean, you could have both. So you see, great for accents. It's just a big tonal, not tonal, it's a big kind of textural sound. So silo booms are like these kind of sound effecty things. And they unfortunately don't have a microphone, which is a shame. But they're a cool tone if you're into that kind of, if you want that kind of over the top large sound. So like in a track, that wouldn't. But if you tune it down, fucking hell. You know, I'd probably use it as like a boom or something. But it's one of those sound designy ones that, you know, for me, not so. So more metals. Let's take a quick look. So we've got a lot of metals here. What we're going to do is we're going to click on this little MIDI thing again so we can actually see what is in there. So containers, tools, globes, doors, and large metals. And again, these kind of sound design things for me are very niche. Like I wouldn't use them as much. But for me, the source of the what makes this library amazing for what I do is that tone, is the tone of it. It's got that natural room tone. So again, if I just play the parts that are this. And so just listen out for that now. That's what I'm saying about the power of this mic blend here. Because they've recorded in such a nice kind of organic sounding percussion room, I'm just going to, on the main ones, I'm going to move the blend and hear how it kind of makes it feel natural, you know? That's what I'm feeling from this. And that's you know, you guys know I'm a bit of a percussion whore. I love the feel of a room. So you can feel how the room shifts as I move those. I feel though in this track though we're a lot cleaner. So that's what I would do with this. So now that I've listened to these two side by side, what I'm actually doing is I'm using the close mics on the world and the far mics on the orchestral instruments. Because you see how that's very tightly, it's a tight sound, right? And because we've layered pretty much the same kind of accents between the two, I prefer the, like I can do this the other way around where we have the far mics on the taikos and the close mics on the orchestral ones, but I think I prefer the way the room sounds. Sorry, I think I prefer the way the transient sound on the world ensemble. Like the way they punch through is a little bit more kind of subtle, and I think it works better this way around. But I'll try it the other way around. Here we go. And I feel like that's kind of the sound. So that is, in a nutshell, Saga by Red Room Audio. Fantastic library if you're looking for organic but large sounding. I was going to try and scratch my head through the thing then. Natural but very large sounding organic style percussion. Like a lot of percussion libraries these days are overhyped, and we're actually going to be looking at one of those next. And that works really well for certain types of music. But for this kind of track where I was doing kind of an Assassin's Creed-y kind of vibe, I wanted like an organic, because I was thinking of like, what would Assassin's Creed be with like Romans? I was like, oh, okay, I need like this big, war-like sound. And that's what Saga does. It's like a very natural war kind of drum sound. So if you have anything like, Hans Zimmer percussion or, like the Spitfire percussion, orchestral tools percussion, Cineperc rather, they will layer really well with this because this has that natural kind of drum tone sound. And so if you're doing these big kind of adding these with the far mics adds to the kind of room that you're looking for. It's that big kind of natural sound. Yeah, absolutely. Like for as cheap as it is, it's absolutely a no-brainer for me. Um, the controls are really easy. You know, I've given some sample libraries a tough time for the UI. There's nothing about this UI which I don't understand from the get go. You know, like the MIDI thing here to change that, turn on the global icons in order to edit all the instruments at once. And I think I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm actually going to get rid of the gong. I don't want the gong in this track. I'm going to do something different with that. So we'll just listen to these one more time. So this is the solo instruments. And as you can see, they're very far mic'd. That's actually kind of a cool tone too. So yeah, that is SAGA, which means that I can finally... Oh my God, hat hair. So what did you guys think? What do you think of SAGA? I'm probably going to put that little bit of... I'm probably going to clip